How we doing? It's Wednesday night, so it's time for the Raven Sports Podcast. So like and subscribe, all of you out there, to all of our social media platforms as well. So we are still in the middle of the summer. We are here about a week away from training camp. So training camp starts next Wednesday. We actually had NFL training camp start today for the two teams that'll be in the Hall of Fame game, the Panthers and the Cardinals. So definitely check that out as well. We're going to have actual football here in a few weeks as well. So definitely two Orioles are going on right now. So definitely two Orioles in front, 4-1 over Boston. Boston's on a heater right now, 15-game winning streak to say the least. They haven't lost a game in 2 weeks as well. But the Orioles are leading right now. Bradish is on the mound for the Orioles after signing that $90 million extension, 5-year. So let's get going. Genesis Notary Services in Winchester, Virginia. If you know, you know. So definitely want to thank all of you in the Winchester, VA area who have participated in that. Definitely every day somebody calls me about the notary business, and we appreciate all the members, all the people out there that have done that. Somebody left me a very nice compliment on social media here recently, so I appreciate that. Share and like all with everybody in the valley. I'm happy to help as many people as I possibly can to go ahead and get all of you squared away as well. So Harris Legal Shield as well. Definitely too, if you are looking for legal assistance, you won't find anything cheaper and better than Legal Shield. I can tell you, you'll save a lot of money as far as getting your legal needs taken care of. You just pay a monthly fee, as opposed to like, hey, you call a lawyer and you have to check and see how much money you got just to ask questions. You can ask as many questions as you want because it's already paid for every month. You businesses out there that are looking for something to go ahead, getting closer to the time where you're looking at those benefits packages, definitely Legal Shield is something that you can offer to your employees at low cost. So definitely call us, check us out for that as well. August 30th, 2026, Maryland football preview. Maryland's going to play their first game in the ACC, big game for big season for Mike Loxley, Malik Washington coming back, a lot of the cast coming back as well. We will see about that. NFL preseason predictions video, September 6th, the Sunday before the season starts. So absolutely check that out for those of you that will do that as well. We're going to have some interviews here. We're going to have our last set here in August. So we usually don't do any interviews during the football season because we're going to be doing instant reaction every week, every Sunday or Monday or whenever after the Ravens game is. We're going to have a college football reaction. We're going to be announcing that shortly. Also, coming up, the podcast, the full podcast will be soon available on Instagram pretty soon, and also Apple Podcasts. So check that out as well for those of you that belong to the cult of Apple out there. All right. Like Mrs. Ravery loves the cult of Apple watches and all that other fun stuff. All right. Definitely. Now, name of the stream. A couple more weeks here as well. We got Ravens off-season report card here. Go ahead and check that out. So let's go ahead and like I said, the season is about to start here next week. Preseason camps are starting here. And so this wasn't just off-season, any other off-season for the Baltimore Ravens. This wasn't just chalk in terms of all the things they had to do and all the things they did as well. Jesse Minter is now the head coach. A lot of player acquisition. We saw some things we didn't normally see in the Ravens offseason as well. Even though Eric DeCosta is still here, Steve Bisciotti is still here, Lamar Jackson is still here. A lot of interesting things that happened. So let's go ahead and give them a grade. Let's see how the Ravens did in the offseason, because I do think often Eric DeCosta said something, well, you don't start playing games till September. No. It doesn't work like that. You don't start playing games till September, but you start winning games before the games even start. You start winning games in the offseason. You start winning games with players that you assign, preparation, et cetera, et cetera. That's true in life as well. You don't, you know, you're not successful in the workplace right when you get there at 9 a.m. You're successful with all the things you did to get there. You're successful before the meeting starts. All right. So, head coach hire. Let's talk a little bit about John Harbaugh. We're going to talk about the hire, obviously, as well. Head coach hire. Jesse Minter, I'm giving that a B. Can't give it an A. I'm going to go ahead and give it a B because we don't know, obviously. It's different. The only way you get an A here is if you hired Sean McVay or, an obvious established head coach. You do. So you got rid of John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh has been around for a very long time as a head coach. It obviously worked. John Harbaugh actually won a Super Bowl for you in 2013. Was the face of the franchise as far as the head coach for a long time. Very close with Eric DaCosta and Steve Bisciotti, in my opinion. Successful on all levels. As of late, a little bit wobbling. I don't think getting rid of Harbaugh I wasn't necessarily for it, but I understand it. I understand the people out there that it got stale. Sometimes you need a new voice. Sometimes you need a change. There was more, I think, the younger guys, I don't think necessarily were vibing with him, as well as Zay Flowers, I think, came out and said, the practices were kind of, things change over time. So it kind of makes sense to get a new hire. Who'd you hire? Jesse Minter. By all points, this more looks like not what they hire of a John Harbaugh, but a hire of a like Brian Billick, guy who was a good assistant, well thought of around the league, guy that a lot of teams was coveted. I think he could have gotten the job, I think, in Cleveland and other places. So you get a guy's father was a coach in the league as well, laid out everything he was going to do. Very good football guy, interview guy. So it makes sense. Defense with the Chargers was immaculate. Played with coach with Jim Harbaugh. We all know the connections. So this was easy for Eric DaCosta to go ahead and hire a Jesse Minter, all new staff. Concern, obviously, he's never been a coach. All that being said, sometimes a guy's a great coordinator and not a great head guy. Other concern with that is inexperienced staff. Think that's important. It could cost you some games, though. But basically, and this is something that a first-time head coach will do, first-time manager or whatever leader will do, you have to look like the leader. You don't want a bunch of guys that have already done it, maybe undermining you. You don't want that. So it's a little bit young. Declan Doyle, bit of concerning, but I think overall B. I think this is about as good as you were going to do if you, in fact, were ready to get rid of John Harbaugh. That's about it. I got no problem with hiring Jesse Minter. I think there's obviously I think there is heat on DaCosta, though. I think as far as front office, the fans are not going to blame John Harbaugh anymore, right? You're not going to blame a coach that just got here. You hired him, you brought him in, so you have to eat this as well. So that's the first grade. So I think you get a B for the head coaching situation in general. Skill positions. So wide receiver, quarterback, tight end, running back, A-. Not a lot to do here as well. Lamar Jackson is back. We'll get to that last. We'll get to that in a second. Great. Derrick Henry is back. Also, Zay Flowers is really emerging. I'm a really big fan of Zay Flowers. His emergence has been fantastic as well. Mark Andrews, bit surprising. They chose him over Isaiah Likely. So Mark Andrews getting the extension at the end of last year. He is on board as well with a bunch of guys around them. So it's not a big worry about that. Two concerns I think we all have with the skilled people as well. One, the depth behind the main guys I just talked about. You got 2 rookies at tight end. You got 2 rookies at wide receiver. You have a rookie at running back that probably will make the team. You have quarterbacks now over Lamar, as great as he's been, over 30. Derrick Henry, ancient now for a running back, like 32, I think he is as well. A bit of concern. So you've had to get rid of some of the other cast. Isaiah Likely is gone. Charlie Kolar is gone. Pat Ricard is gone. New offense as well. But overall, I'm not at all worried about the skill people. I think you got an A-plus group. I think you got pro bowlers potentially at 3-4 different spots. I think that's great stuff with that, guys. The big problem I have with the skill, why it's not an A higher, is you don't have a Lamar Jackson contract. For whatever reason, this is taking so long to get a Lamar deal done. This should be a no-brainer for Lamar and the Ravens. I don't know why this isn't done. Usually a quarterback of his caliber, you go ahead and do that. So I don't know how in his case, and I'm almost to the point with Lamar, I don't know how much more money you're holding out for at this point. Like I don't know what 12 months or 6 or I think it's pretty standard stuff that you're going to be the highest paid guy. So I don't know what's the hold up here with the Lamar deal. But not worried about the skills positions. I think it's absolutely the strength of the team. Offensive line in the offseason. You get a B+. I think this was a B+ and not a C for me this week with Ethan Pollock signing the contract with the Ravens. That's huge. That's huge. So you get a guy, even though he had an injury last year, a solid starting caliber offensive center to replace Tyler Lindenbaum. Now we're talking. Because what they were doing was a total bologna sandwich. Those guys were not starter level. I don't care what they said. And they knew it. And so they brought in a guy. Pollock, they had to wait on the medicals. He did have an injury. So I think this is why this is happening so close to camp. Makes sense. And also, too, I think they wanted to see the reps. They wanted to see how these other guys actually look before they actually made a move like that. Also, drive the price down. You probably save $2 or $3 million or whatever doing it before camp if a guy's still available. So I think that's huge because that now you have a solid offensive line. The guards are severely upgraded compared to what you had. Daniel Falele was awful. I'm not going to keep beating on Falele. We all know it. Voorhees is still on the team. He probably won't start if he makes the team. You went out and got Vega Ione in the draft. Probably you could argue the best offensive lineman in the NFL draft this season for 14. You went ahead and signed him. Also, too, you got John Simpson. I said a couple times with John Simpson. You let him go a couple years ago. You're replacing with 2 guys that couldn't play. If you'd have given him the same contract, you wouldn't have had all these problems for 2 years as well. So you get back the same guy. Clearly, no concern about the interior line. Now, I think that's fantastic. So I think you have definitely upgraded, definitely overall, possibly on the line. The tackles we know, Ronnie Stanley and Roger Rosengarten, not worried about those guys. Those guys are solid. Can Rosengarten elevate to a Pro Bowl level guy? We'll see. I don't know. It's clearly a downgrade with Linderbaum and Pollock. That's the thing. Why it's not higher a grade here. But definitely overall, maybe you got better, but definitely you didn't get better at center. That's down. You went down at center for sure, even with Pollock. But I think at least you got a guy that's top 30, top 25, where you had these guys were not even top 100, were top 40 centers, which you had down. So definitely you get a B+ there as well. The draft. I didn't like the draft as much as some people did. I think this was probably one of the worst drafts I think the Ravens have had. I gave it C overall. The first round, obviously, knocked it out the park. I think you got Ione. That makes perfect sense. It was a need. They went ahead and got that. I think that made a lot of sense as well. I thought Zion Young was a little high. I thought Jacoby Lane was a little high. As far as if I'm grading a draft, I thought those guys were about a round earlier. I think that they should have been. Sat might be the other wide receiver. I think that's about right. Fourth round. They didn't address the center, which I think they absolutely should have. You signed a center, so that's good, but you really didn't address, I think, the biggest need. So I think that's a thing as well. You're gonna have. I think it was just okay. I don't know if you knocked it out the park with this draft. We'll see. It's really gonna depend. I think the biggest value would probably be these two tight ends. Let's see how they do. They were kind of drafted middle round. This is kind of what they've done. C grade for the draft. I don't think they I don't. I'm not giving it too much, but I give it like a C grade for the draft. Defensive front A plus. I think this was a complete home run on all fronts. On the defensive front, you were definitely trying to figure it all out. You got Max Crosby, even with the debacle. You go ahead, you get Trey Henderson. You take him away from a division rival in the Bengals. That's fantastic. A little bit of a concern, not maybe great run defender, but man, it's such a huge upgrade from what you had last year. You did get Zion Young in the draft. I don't know if he's ready to start right away. You're going to have an improved, I think, Mike Green, who's really good. I still really like Mike Green as well. So I think there was some issues last year, but I think Mike Green on the other side of a guy like Trey Henderson. I absolutely love it as well. And you're getting back Justin Matabuke. That is big time as well. A plus, that was so huge. So you got your pass rusher, you got Justin Matabuke back, you got Calais Campbell. A plus. I think this is maybe the biggest strength of your entire football team right here. We already did offense. Secondary, I think you get a B plus. I'm not sure you have the depth that you once had at secondary. It'll be interesting to see. They did bring Jalen Hawkins in, but they did lose those safeties of Chloe Gilman in the offseason. They did lose the Darius Washington. So they did have some really deep safety depth. I think that's kind of somewhat like the offensive line there. I'm a little worried about the depth, a little bit. So I think that's a bit of a concern. But I do think your frontline guys are really good. Kyle Hamilton, maybe the best safety in the NFL. We all know this. Maybe the best defensive player, period, in the NFL. Not named Myles Garrett. So he's fantastic there. I think the corners, a little bit more worried about the corners than a little bit. But I think we're solid corners. I think your top three guys. I think Humphreys will be fine. You're going to put him in a slot, I think, mostly this year. You're going to have Louisier and I think Wiggins on the outside. But I think there's the depth maybe not quite there, but it's fine. They signing a Louisier in the offseason, that's a big deal. They addressed it in this, addressing it in the draft. That's fine. I think B plus there. Final grade overall, B plus. B plus. I think they did. It makes me feel better in the offseason to do some of the things that they've done. So I'm really impressed with some of those things. Things I didn't like, that didn't make it a grade. You didn't sign Lamar long term. That I don't want that as a Lamar issue. I want you to go ahead and get the Lamar thing done as well. They did go ahead. They have some youth on the offensive side. You're playing a lot of rookies at wide receiver and tight end. That's a problem. That could be a thing as well. Possibly even at running backs, depending on how much Andrew Randall plays. So you're playing a lot of young guys there. You have a bit of an overhaul in the offensive line. You have a whole new offensive system now. This is the first time in the history of the Ravens you're not doing any fullback. So you're going to have two tight ends. This is going to look different all the way around, but not so much worried about the offense as well. Defense is a massive upgrade. I think getting the defensive line, and they filled their holes on defense, that defensive front that they needed to do, Matabuke coming back, Trey Henderson, etc. I think that's great. Little bit concerned about the cornerback depth. I think that's an issue. Could be. Wiggins has had some injuries. Marlon's had some injuries. Awuzie is now 30 plus. I don't know if you have the depth out there. So it's a bit of a concern for me. But other than that, I think you're great as me. This is a good football team. I think it's a 12-win football team to actually go out and possibly contend for the Super Bowl in the North. There you go. Off-season report card. Overall, Ravens get a B plus. I think it was good off-season as well. And now we can start talking about the new season. Next week, one of my favorite videos that I do, State of the Franchise. So we're going to go over everything. So we did the report card. Now we're going to also look at the offseason. We're going to look at what we got now, what's going on. We're going to set you up for the playoffs, for the preseason that's coming up. After that, we're going to do training camp reports every week. What's going on out there in Owings Mills as well, and camp as well. Jesse Minter, for the first time, is going to be there's going to be no John Harbaugh on the sideline. Jesse Minter is going to be running his first camp. So let's go ahead and check that out.
Hey, Olivia, you take Al to a room.
More NFL.
Sure thing. Right this way out.
Thanks.
I noticed something about it. It's usually red and bloodshot eyes.
All right, top 10 list. We've been doing that. So let's go ahead and get down with the center position as well. So we've been doing the big guys. We did our tackles before, protecting the blind side. Now we did who's your power drivers. We did last week with the guards, and now we're doing the pivot, the leader of the offensive line, the guy that makes the calls, the guy who consider the quarterback of the offensive line, the center. I don't think we have a lot of great centers in the league right now. So I think there's a little bit too much fluidity for me looking at the list, looking at a lot of these guys. In terms of from years, I think too many teams now are not valuing in the center or not paying. I mean, you saw what Tyler Linderbaugh got. So I think there's an issue with some teams with center, but I think we'll see. Let's just take a look at the list. But this is, I think, these guys I think would put in the top 10. These are the 10 best centers, I think, right now in the NFL. Number 10, Graham Barton from the Bucks as well. So this guy played tackle not that long ago at Duke. He played a little tackle even last year for Tristan Wirtz. This guy was a pleasant surprise. This is an upside thing, okay? Barton is a guy I think you could go forward building around and see. So he's still really young. So about 25, 26 years old. Really, I think, talented pass blocker at the center position. So he's a guy, great versatility. I was just talking about how he played at tackle before, played tackle in college, played at center. You could put him at guard. I think you could put him anywhere on the line. But I think his future in Tampa, I think he's an NFL player, will be at center. I like Barton. I think Barton, number 10. Number 9, Joe Tippmann. I don't like these Jets jerseys that they have now. They kind of reverted to the 80s Jets jerseys. I've never liked those. I like the ones, the Joe Namath ones, what I call them. The ones that Bill Parcells brought back when he took the job, the ones when they won the Super Bowl, that when the Jets actually did win the Super Bowl. For you young people that didn't know that, the Super Bowl 3. But I always liked those. I'm not a big fan of these Jets jerseys that they currently have as well. So I just want to get that in. But Joe Tippmann, I think, is fantastic. I think Joe Tippmann, again, young guy, I think is a bit of an emergence as well. Just signed recently today, 4 years, $66.4 million deal, because he's been really good for them. 25 years old. So this is the guy they're going to build around as well. I do think he is. I'd like to see him a little bit stronger as well. That's kind of the thing with him as well. I think to me, he's a better pass blocker than a run blocker as well. But I think him in the pivot, I really like him. I think this is definitely a guy, a little bit of projection. I think he's going to get better, but I think Tippmann is really good in those ugly gestures. Number 8, Tanner Bortolini from the Colts. So for years they had Zach Kelly this has been a staple. I mean, if you look at it through the years, the Colts have had some really good offensive lines.
I swear. Like she took nothing. Straight nothing.
They've had some really good offensive linemen as well in Indy. So I think the one thing that Chris Ballard, with all his, and I'm always killing Chris Ballard with all his annoyance, but I think that they've had good offensive line play. And again, this is a guy, I think you talk about these three guys at the bottom of the top 10 here. They are three guys that really have a lot of potential as well. And I thought Bodolini was fantastic. He almost didn't even, I don't think it was that much of a downgrade from the year before when it had Ryan Kelly and throughout the years. Tremendous run blocker. I think this guy is right there at the top of the NFL as far as run blocking as well. Pass blocking, I think, needs some work, but I don't know. It's got Daniel Jones, so I don't know how much passing they can put. I think this guy really could be. Kind of reminds me of Linderbaum a little bit as a younger player. Needs to work on that pass blocking, but he's definitely manhandles in the run game as well. Number 7, I don't think.
Okay. Let's go to the ventilator. I'm going to need propofol 5 milligrams per minute to keep.
I think I got him on order. Number 7, Zach Frazier of the Squealers as well. Again, another projection, but I think he's a little more solid. I think this is a guy that's a little more polished all the way around. I don't think he's great in any one area as well. So you got those guys that are good run blockers or good pass blockers. I think Frazier, is going to be a pivot as well. I could tell when I look at him that he was a guard but didn't always play center. So it seems like he's still somewhat learning the position. But I think this guy is an outstanding NFL center. I think going forward, 310 pounds, 6'3", I think he's going to be the Steelers' pivot for many years. This is an organization that's had history. DeMonte Dawson, Lenny Webster, et cetera, all those great centers. They may have their next great center. I think Frazier, has that type of potential. I would say he's not a phenomenal athlete for an offensive line. I think he's not great. I think his value is he's kind of good at several things. That's when I see with him. He's a guy that's not good at any one particular thing. Number 6, Cam Jurgens, Eagles offensive line. He had big shoes to fill. He replaced the great Jason Kelsey, who was there. Travis Kelsey's brother, that great offensive line that the Eagles have had. So this guy's been stepping up. I think kind of that the reason. I think that's kind of the reason why I think he's kind of went under the radar a little bit, because he had to replace such a great player in Travis Kelsey. But Cam Jurgens, I think, is no joke. I think this guy really has another guy with huge upside. I don't think there's a guy in the league that has his upside as far as his pass blocking as well. I like his instincts. Chris Berman would call this guy, it's almost weird to say doing a football stream, but a football player. Makes sense. He's got the things, you see the things that you can't teach. He's got the things, there's always when you have great players, there's got to be things that you can't teach, that you can't. I see instincts with him and things like that. So a little bit, I know you stat guys don't always like metrics. The metrics don't always show what the eyeball test. So this is what I see. Jurgens, number 6. Number 5, Connor McGovern for the Bills. So this is a guy who played guard. The Bills offensive line, I think, is going to be really, really good. Having this guy, this guy is big, strong. Was a guard for a long time. This guy gets his hands on you, and he gets his hands on you. Dang. I question it. It's weird for me to say have a guy in the top 10. Is he built for center? Better guard, but I think it's center. He's just so strong that you don't care. He can push guys around in the run game and in the pass game. That's how big. That's how he is. He doesn't go ahead. You're not going to take guys. You're not going to take like a D tackle or whatever and put over Connor and go and put over this guy, and you're just going to go ahead and just push him around. That's not going to work. So this guy is love his strength, play strength as well. He's got that what you call play strength. Excellent pass block. I think. Number 4, Eric McCoy of the Saints. Only reason probably he's not higher is because of the injuries he's had in recent years. That's a bit concerning to me. That's a bit concerning. I think this is the one where I don't know how much upside it is, but when he's on the field, he's still really good. I got no problem with Eric McCoy in the top 10 because he is top 10. I think he's definitely the leader of that line in New Orleans. I think this is a line that's really good. Fantastic pass blocker. I think that's why as well. I think you could argue he should be number 1. If this was just pass blocking, you could have Eric McCoy there as well. Number 4 for the Saints. Number 3, Aaron Brewer. This guy's been just getting better and better as well. Look, we all know that the Dolphins are in a huge rebuild right now. So there's not a lot there. They did go out and get Malik Willis in the offseason. They actually did keep Achane. Okay. and they got Brewer. I think this guy is outstanding run blocker. We know that. This guy actually is a guy that you're not whatever side he's going to dominate in the run game, he's going to dominate that as well. Not like kind of McGovern, but I think a better version of that. McGovern is just plain strong. I think his technique is better. So that's why I like McGovern. That's why I like Brewer a little bit higher. I think his footwork overall is really, really good. So I think this guy is really emerging. If you say this guy's number 1, I have him at 3, but I'm not going to argue too much. Really. But these two guys I think are just a little bit more bona fide. Number 2, our guy Tyler Linderbaum now for the Raiders. Linderbaum I think is the complete package. I think we've known this from minute 1. He came in the league, drafted very high for a center. This guy doesn't disappoint. I'm shocked to hear that some of you Raven fans think that you're not going to miss Tyler Linderbaum. That's not going to happen. This guy was fantastic. He was so good. He's nothing to worry about. You never see Linderbaum miss tackles. You never see Linderbaum out of position. You never see it. This guy is fantastic in all areas. Better run, I think, than pass, but I think he's solid in the pass. I think that's the only kind of thing I hear. Like he's, not. I think Linderbaum is good. He got a lot of money, obviously, but I don't think there's anything like that to worry about as well. 80, like block run blade was like 83. Pass blocking is a little bit less, but I don't care. This guy's fantastic. I don't worry about anything with Tyler Linderbaum as well. Raiders are going to get. I do think it's Mendoza. I think for whatever reason they're kind of bluffing that they're going to start Kirk Cousins. They won't. I think it'll be Mendoza to go ahead and start. They brought Linderbaum to help him. But number 1, let's leave it at Creed Humphrey, friend of Chef's. Humphrey, I think, is the best center in the league still. I think he's just good. I think he's just fantastic, period, as well. The best combo. He's probably the one guy I think elite in all areas. He's elite pass blocker. He can do the zone blocking. He can one-on-one. He's elite in all areas. There's not an area in the field where you got Creed Humphrey blocking for you where he's not an elite guy. I think he's elite, period. I think that's why he's number 1 on the list. Is he the best offensive player for the Chefs for as well? We can argue. There you go. All right. There's your top 10 centers in the NFL. Definitely, too. I think there's some fluctuation on that list. So as well. So I think the top 2, I think, have been there. When you talk about Tyler Linderbaum and you talk about Creed Humphrey. So there is some fluctuation. But I think, like, in general, I think There is some fluctuation there, but I do think you have two guys at the top of the league. I think Brewer is not that far behind. Not that far behind. It's going to be tough for him in Miami, in my opinion, to look real good. I think like that's probably part of it for me. But these guys are elite. So that's it for offense. And next week we're going to start talking about defense. So top 10 edge rushers in the NFL. That's going to be next week. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to do these lists all the way up until the season starts.
Take a look at yourself. Here's a CT scan without contrast.
5-1 Orioles in the 7th inning as well. So a lot of injuries the Orioles have right now. So hopefully they can break this 15-game winning streak, literally 15 games that the Red Sox are currently on. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about what's going on at the Entertainment and Sports Programming Network. For those of you who don't know, that's ESPN.
It looked like she was not getting any blood flow to the entire left side of her brain. It's so bad.
So we had layoffs absolutely at ESPN the last days or so.
My first thought was, this is somebody who's had a non-survivable stroke.
So I got it up on the screen. There's a couple things I'm going to say about the layoffs. We're going to talk, obviously, about Ryan Clark. But what we're seeing is when in 2022, when I started Rivalry Sports, we did the same thing. Right? We had a massive purge of layoffs. Look, this is not a business channel per se. I have a business degree. A lot of this is going on right now. So we know a lot of this is going on right now in sports, and just in the world in general. But layoffs are really something that is going on, something terrible right now. Where's the other one?
Had a devastating stroke that we do not have many to any treatment options for.
I'm not giving up on her. We've been married for 25 years.
But there was a lot of layoffs at ESPN. Let's go over that and kind of tell you what it means, because there's a lot of, I think, wrong stuff out there right now. So, some of the names. That were laid off. I don't know where you can see that. But some of the names, I'm just going to go ahead and read it. So, laid off at ESPN. We're going to talk about Ryan Clark. Cam Newton from First Take was let go. Carl Ravitch, man, it's 33 years at ESPN. Any of us baseball guys that you know exactly who Carl Ravitch was for years and years. Baseball Tonight finally got his opportunity after to call the games. So Carl Ravitch, Tom Pelissero, NFL Network, Charles Davis. I think that kind of makes sense. I mean, a bit redundant, even though I think he's a good broadcaster. I think a lot of the NFL Network guys, I mean, we kind of knew that some of them weren't going to be around. Stephania Bell, who's kind of like one of their contributors, kind of like injury contributors, fantasy as well. David Lloyd on ESPN forever as well, one of the guys that was on SportsCenter like forever. If I remember him, then yeah, it's forever. And Andres Hale was there. I think I saw two. Yeah, I think the Jay Billis thing was fake. So I thought I saw Jay Billis' name as one to get laid off, but I'm not sure if that was true. I know I saw it on Twitter, but I didn't see it anywhere else. I didn't hear him say. So I don't think the Jay Billis one was a real thing. But a lot of these guys are gone as well. And obviously the biggest one, I think, and it was Ryan Clark, who's been there for a long time. So what's going on? So right now, look, these guys are no longer going to be at the network. That's a lot of money these guys are making right now. And Ryan Clark, that's $2 million. Carl Ravage, I'm sure that was like 4 or 5. You talk about Bart Scott, who's no longer there. That's like 3 or 4. This is a lot of money some of these guys are making. And these corporations now, they're in greed mode. They're not playing around. Like they're of course, they're going right before their quarterlies here. It's always things like that always happen right before their quarterly reports, the meeting. They can take those money off the books, and that's exactly what it is. That happened there. So they've lost about $12-13 million in salary, I think, and that they could take off their books as well. I always feel more for the names that we don't know behind the camera, the smaller contributors, these guys that don't have, that are just regular people working, that don't have all these big staffs, all these monies. Look, Cam Newton, Ryan Clark, etc. They're rich. They're not. A lot of these guys, like Charles Davis, he's going to be the number 1 announcer at CBS this year. So they're not. It's not a thing for some of them in terms of money, but it's a lot there. But blaming Pat McAfee and Stephen A. Look, y'all don't understand. Pat McAfee and Stephen A. are going to do Pat McAfee and Stephen A. They're supposed to make money. There's no guarantee that they would have kept any of these guys if Stephen A. had given back money or Pat McAfee had given back money. You could say that, and that could have been true. I mean, they could have just said, "Hey, if you want to give Pat McAfee a raise," they could have done that. I don't know. That's possible, but I think that's unfair to them to say, okay, well, if you hadn't have gotten so much money, etc., that's what would have happened to those guys. Nowadays, layoffs happen. Companies really do that. Layoffs happen. Companies do that. That's the way it goes. Ryan Clark, I think that was just plain disrespectful. You shouldn't fire a guy on the air in the middle of a segment. They didn't even have the nerve with Ryan Clark to even take the segments down. Like they used the segments when you fired him in the commercial break. There's no reason for that. There's no reason for that. You can. I'm like D.L. Hughley used to say, fire me before I get to work. Fire me, call me on the phone, so I'm not burning up a half a tank of gas, getting or whatever. That's just classless. And it's classless for people like the Outkick people and all that. If you're celebrating, right? That's just what are you, 5? Celebrating people losing their job. You don't know the impact of that on somebody's family, on somebody's man still has a family, wife, kids that are affected, family that are affected. I got no use for that. Even if you didn't like Ryan, and I wasn't the biggest Ryan Clark guy either. I thought he had lost popularity. I think that's part of why, but I think that was unnecessary. But it's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate to have guys like this who are so talented out of it. And this is kind of the world we're living in right now. So everybody said, I already saw Cam Newton's podcast. Shout out to him. I have my own platform. I'm good. I didn't even know Carl Ravage had a podcast. I saw it last. So a lot of these guys, it's unfortunate, but I think people got to get over this a little bit now. You got to knuckle up. We're in an era of a lot of layoffs, a lot of people losing their jobs. Media right now, it's very brutal what's going on. But that's still no reason to act classless like some of the stuff I've seen at Ryan Clark. It's just a complete classlessness, cheering somebody getting fired, even if you didn't like it. I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. I've had to work too hard in my life for opportunities, any opportunity, for me to be like, this is great, somebody got fired. I'm not doing it. So, all right. So there you go. There are the layoffs at the Total Sports Network. Getting smaller. Both of the big entities. Fox, I think, has been running on skeleton crew. I think they really real quick, that Barstool thing is a total train wreck for them. I don't know if they care. But it's just a total train wreck for them. Nobody's brought that up as well, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, but it's getting smaller out here as far as those big media companies as well. Let's talk a little baseball. Let's talk a little baseball summer. So we got about a month left of that too, baseball summer. So this is the last week here where we're going to talk about a little bit of Orioles organization in terms of baseball summer. So we're going to talk about all three teams, the rookies leagues as well. So we're going to talk about them real quick tonight. All the teams that are here, the DSL Orioles and the Complex League Orioles. Two beautiful facilities. This is Mike Elias's baby, DSL, the Dominican Summer League, the facilities down there, taking young players. So Orioles now in full participation of the international market, those type players as well. Obviously, the crown jewel is Sam Basayo, now slugging home runs in Baltimore as well. And now these are some of the names that you're going to see participate here as well. So the Orioles have two Dominican Summer League teams. Their games are during the day, pretty much. Usually they're around 12 o'clock as well. And these are for guys that are just starting rookie status or not even rookie status a lot of times in the Dominican League. Some of these guys are not even 18 years old. We'll see how the new collective bargaining agreement looks if they're able to continue to do that as well. But Alex Morel's been there a long time. Those are the three, look, just to give you an example, three oldest players, Juan Duran, Jeremy Sandoval, and Axel Perez, 21 years old. Those are the old heads, right? Those are the guys, the veteran guys on their team. They're 16 and 16. Some of the performers that they have, Luis Diaz, first base, DR, that's Dominican Republic. Lots of stolen bases on these guys. 337, 416. I think definitely too he could be in line pretty soon for promotion to Delmarva. His song was José Gomez as well, also from Dominican Republic, 18 years old, 18 RBIs, 13 stolen bases, hitting 305. So definitely good bat to ball from those guys. Matt Calabrio as well, 3 home runs, 21 RBIs. Definitely two, one I think the biggest power hitter, I think, on the roster that they have there. Kevin Zlapa is also from the Dominican Republic. 2 39 strikeouts. I think he's got the most of all the teams that we're going to talk about here tonight as far as strikeouts. I think I'm pretty sure he's not going to finish down there. I think for Delmarva, I think is the next step up. I think that's going to be true for him. Junior Valencia, 21, 2-1, 7-1 is ERA, 28 strikeouts as well. So he is developing nicely the orange and black. That's the Orioles and Baltimore City College. Heard about that all growing up. Chris Madera, 14 and 21. Again, same thing. Just give you an idea. The older players, 23 years old. I think he's the oldest one playing in the Dominican Summer League. Esteban Descent, 23. Marcos Rubio and Henry Ramirez as well. Most of these guys are Dominican. Some are from Venezuela. Like Fabian Cordero, who's 18 years old, hitting 341. So really good and giving good stuff here as well. Makar, please forgive me if I mispronounce the name. Delato, 3 home runs, 22 RBIs, hitting 291, 9 steals. Also another Venezuelan player, Ray Ferrara, 2 home runs, 18 RBIs as well, 5 stolen bases as well. Emmanuel Pena. Getting a lot of strikeouts. ERA is a little bit high at 5.2, but Roberto Gerardo, I think, has been fantastic for them as well. 17 years old, 5 strikeouts, 15 strikeouts as well for the Orange as well. And the FCL Orioles, Florida Complex League was Florida Complex League. So you see right now, and we'll talk about Eric Gould, but a lot of these guys you're going to see here, the interesting part, a lot of the guys you just saw drafted are already in Florida as well. Not in games yet, but they may get assigned to Florida as far as games. But this is, you see vets go there, extended spring training, kind of get ready. So they have games going on there. But I think this is part of the function of Florida, especially, is even more than the Dominican, I think is getting guys ready as well. Some of the names that have been there: Nate George, Esteban Maya, Kyle Bradish, and the extension. You just signed that as well. Wilmadea Cruz, I think you definitely keep an eye on that name as far as going through the organization. 226 average, but 16 steals, 2 home runs, 20 RBIs as well. Cam Lee from played at Missouri, played from the state of Missouri, rather. So he's 19 years old, 16 RBIs, 27 steals, hitting 290. Hector Campanera has been really, really good, hitting 327 with 27 RBIs and 17 stolen bases. KK Clark has really been not a lot of great pitching there, but he's been the best, 2-0 with 3.12 ERA. And Luis Performo, again, forgive me, I forget the names right. A lot of these names I'm having trouble pronouncing, but I think definitely 221 strikeouts. I think that was the most I saw there as well. So a lot of these guys, some of them honestly will never play in the majors, but this is where it starts. This is the development for especially DSL, a lot of the international players, Dominican Republic, Venezuela, et cetera, that are in foreign countries that are actually coming to the United States to play. It's a good training ground for them where they can go play American style baseball as well, learn the game as well, and also to Florida Complex League. So this is kind of like, think of it as spring training all year, right? They're going to send a lot of guys to Florida and throw, and it's a good opportunity for like young players like this to really learn and see the MLB game. And this is Michael Elias's baby, as well as we all know, whatever we feel about Michael Elias, getting this squared away. They have done a very good job with this, I think. I do think Dominican and the Florida Complex League are in much better shape now than they were before they got there. There you go. All right. So there it looks as well. Those are your very low levels of the organization, Dominican Summer League and the Florida Coast League as well. Those players, you never know. Some of those players could actually become major league players. Next week, baseball summer, we're going to talk about a team that used to be in the Orioles organization, the Aberdeen Ironbirds. I think it's fascinating, the whole thing with the Keys and the Ironbirds. The Ironbirds have a season. We're going to talk about that a little bit next week.
Minnesota troops are not used.
Are you? All right.
But I've never done one.
So Orioles.
In residency, we have a saying: see one, do one, teach one. That refers to
Still going on right now. I tried to get it where the game, I think they had 2 games, kind of messed with it. I try and do it so where the game is over at this point, but the game is still going on. Kittredge on the mound in the 8th inning, 5-1. Orioles in command of this.
This was my time
Is this sure?
to do the procedure. I don't know how to do it, but if you don't do things very often,
I hope I didn't share that
you're very nervous.
because they're going to be mad.
You don't have a lot of confidence.
All right, so Orioles report. Let's go ahead and get that squared away. The Orioles, the week as well. So a big name here, Christian Encarnacion Strand from Norfolk sent Blaze Alexander to the 10-day IL. So that's bad. Blaze Alexander, that's really terrible. I mean, if not for the team, at least, and I think it is for the team, but for him. So I didn't get a chance to talk about it last week. This happened like right before last week. But Blaze Alexander, I mean, we all know, was actually playing well, multiple positions. And now I think he's going to be out for a while. I don't think we see him before late August, September. with this broken hand. So it'll be a minute before we see him back on the field. The good news, Strand has been fantastic, like so far. So that's been good as well. Having an outstanding season at Norfolk as well before he got here as well. So Eric Booth agrees to a rookie contract, acquired Ruby Martin in exchange for Kansas City cash. Kyle Bradish agrees to a 5-year extension, also to this week, and recalled Cam Sanders from Norfolk. Again, they seem to be rotating a lot of guys there from Norfolk. So Booth is signed. That's good. So sometimes with the high school guys, they have college commitments. You wonder sometimes if they're actually going to sign. Booth actually did go ahead and sign. That's fantastic that they have him. Acquired a young player, Rudy Martin. Kyle Bradish, 5 years, $90 million. So fantastic work here. So that's two now foundational pieces of the rotation. Now, I'm not the biggest Bradish guy, but certainly the thinking now to step in the right direction. Now you're signing pitchers to multi-year deals. A 5-year, 90-year deal, that's the step in the right direction. So say whatever you want. At least from the money and things like that, that's putting resources into the team as well. Would it have happened possibly without the CBA looming in the strike, the lockout? Maybe not. I don't know. But definitely two contracts done. Orioles getting it done, re-signing Kyle Bradish. Not probably going to see Helsley this year, transferred from the 50-day to the 60-day DL. Sam Sandhuff from Norfolk, and option Cam Sanders back down to Norfolk. So this didn't work out as far as injury. I doubt seriously we see him on the mound this year at all. It's a shame that they're not going to have him, so they moved him to the 60-day DL. Sam Huff from Norfolk. I think now we're to the point we're just treading water for Creed Williams. I think at some point now you're going to see Creed Williams up here this season. You've had some injuries. We'll go over that. But I think that'll be the next one. I think they're just service time, I think is the thing. And so I think that's what's going on there. Designated Rudy Martin for assignment. We went there. Adley Rushman went on the 10-day DL, retroactive to July 19th. Selected Chadwick Tomp from Norfolk as well. So Adley's been injured again. We'll talk more about Adley in a second, but I think this is his third time. I'm thinking this is his third time on IL this season. He wasn't long off the IL before the All-Star break, so I think this is his third time again on the IL. So this is a real thing with Adley as well this season. Chomp, look, this organization is very good right now in the catching prospects. So they definitely have a lot of catching help that they can bring in as well. Whoever you bring in, obviously, isn't going to be as good as Adley Rushman, but you do have some functionality, I think, in that position. Jonathan Rodriguez recalled from Norfolk and placed Samuel Basayo on the 10-day IL. I don't know what's wrong with Basayo. Something is something. For lack of a better word, obviously. Like his shoulder has been doing something. So I think this has kind of been inevitable for him. And he's had to do most of the catching this season because of Adley's injuries as well. So I don't mind this too much. Let him get right, whatever it is. Something's bothering him. So put him on the IL for 10 days and have him go ahead and get right. Rodriguez, I think, has been up a couple times. I think he's a 4A player. I think you'll see him probably back in Norfolk. I don't think but I think he's a 4A player, but we will see what happens there. Number 6, Jeff Passan reported the Orioles have been not actively shopping Adley Rushman, but they are currently for the All-Star, for the 3-time All-Star, but they are currently listening to inquiries and giving a trade a 30% chance to happen. I wrote an article about this. I'm not convinced that they're trading Adley. They're listening because I don't think you have a lot in the minor league system necessarily to trade. If you actually want to get something, you got to give up something, obviously, right? So you got to give a little, get a little. So I think the team they're going to call about is Adley Rutschman. If he's healthy enough to play, I think that's interesting. But I think I think the organization would much rather, in ways, give up an Adley Rutschman than to give up, let's just say, Nate George or Joseph Dubois or or Irish or Wemo or something like that. I think they'd rather do that, since I think it's less likely as we go that Adley's going to resign long term anyway. So I think that's a thing. I'd love to see Adley stay as well. 30% chance, but I think they are at least considering it as well. And the fact of the matter is, they have a guy long term, Samuel Basayo. Samuel Basayo is going to be the long term answer at catcher for the Orioles. Potential. Let's see. One more for that. Eric Booth has not yet been assigned to an affiliate or any official games after signing a 7-year contract for $7,324,700,000. Seventh overall pick of the month will go to FCL most likely. So we talked about it tonight. That's probably he's already there in Florida, working out with the team, extended spring training. Once he's ready to go, he'll probably play in Florida, FCL, or it's possible they may put him in Delmarva beforehand. We'll see, because he's a number one pick. But I'm thinking it'll be Florida at least for a little while, and then early next year it'll be Delmarva for him as well. Orioles potential trade targets. Just a couple names out there: Luis Arraez, Robbie Ray, AJ Minter, Hogan Harris. Arraez, I'd love to have. I don't care what anybody says. I'll take 300. I mean, you look at the averages on this team. The leading average, I think, is 251 was Taylor Ward. You get a guy like Arraez, blow that out the water. He's going to get you hits every night. Plug him in right in the second spot every night. And I don't care where you play him. You can play him at several different positions. You can play him at third. You can play him at second. You can play him in the out. So I think it works all the way around. Robbie Ray, I think, is just getting a little greedy as well. But those are some of the names I think are out there for the Orioles. Who's hot? All pitching. Trevor Rogers, Grant Wolfram, Brandon Young. Rogers has been good for a while now. I think he's been fantastic in terms of what he's done. Grant Wolfram has really bounced back. Brandon Young, I think he's the true ace of the staff this year. I think it's time to say that Brandon Young is the Orioles ace, at least for 2026. Been fantastic. I think he's the closest one to double digit win. I think he's got like 8 wins. I think he's been good. Rogers has been a little shaky there in the middle, and now he's really rebounded. I think he's been fantastic. Alonso, not good lately. Averaging the 100. Same with Taylor Ward. Seeing Jackson Holiday on this list way too much. I would say, though, you got to play him more. I would say it's part of it. You're kind of yanking him in, out having him play every day. You're kind of platooning him, and I think it's harder for him to get in the rhythm. So I think, Escher, get off the pot, as my dad used to say. You got to figure it out. Are you going to play him or are you not going to play him? Next week, the Atlanta Braves. So definitely rest in peace, Ted Turner and Bobby Cox. You have a really good Braves team here as well. Braves are taking their place at the top of the NL East. They're going to come into Baltimore. There's going to be, I'm sure, a lot of Braves contingent there. And the Tigers as well. Tigers, like a lot of teams in the AL, definitely not completely out of it as well. And a guy who wasn't even on the roster, 2 home runs. One today, Edward Christian Ocasio Strand as well. So having a killer year in Norfolk, 2 home runs, cost the Orioles doing a great job, I think, as well. Tough spot filling in for a guy who's playing well. Blaze Alexander as well. 5-1, Orioles in the 9th here as well. All right. I want to thank all of you. Our Facebook platform for sure has been growing, so I'm very grateful for that. I appreciate all of you out there who have taken the time to check out Bravery Sports, check out our blog, available every morning. Feel like I'm back in the groove here. I had a couple of days off. We'll be back for the Driving the Top. I'll be back on the open mic next week as well. I didn't even get a chance to talk to Adam when he texted me. Sent me. Everything's fine. I've just been busy at my 9 to 5, busy doing a lot of things. The Notre Dame business is keeping better, so I was out of town, so I'm getting my groove back here, and we're getting squared away for football season and the pennant race. Thank you guys for joining us here for the Raven Sports Podcast. You guys enjoy the rest of your day.
Now keep taking those antibiotics. Come back if you have any concerns. Oh, and see your doctor in a week to get those sutures out.
I will. I promise. Thank you.
Thanks for making our crappy Valentine's Day look crappy. And you know what? Yeah, that restaurant Solandra's, the new one. Oh, yeah.